Okay. You speaking, Noah?
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
Sounds pretty good.
Okay, this is all just like test. I don't know. This is the first episode of the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the Capture the World podcast. I mean, it's a pretty broad podcast when it comes to what we're going to be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to be talking about international travel, and we're going to be getting into some of the photography and filming side of things.
Yep.
We got a guest coming on who is currently stuck in Brazil because of this whole worldwide pandemic thing.
And he's been growing his Instagram during his time in Brazil.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a pretty fun episode. So let's just jump right into this.
Well, how about introductions first? Because
Yeah.
these people might not know us. So this is Leaf. I'm Noah. We've done several YouTube channels in the past. Our current ones are Capture the World Productions. That's Leaf's. And then Anything Cameras. And we've both been doing photography/video for like 3.5 years plus.
Yeah, I'd say about that long.
And we're pretty passionate about it. So a lot of these podcast episodes will have something to do with creative production, such as photography, video, audio, whatever.
Yep. Yeah, no, quite a bit about that. And so I guess we can kick it off now. Last summer, I went to Europe and visited 5 countries there.
The past 2 summers, I've gone to Tijuana, Mexico on a mission trip, but I still brought my camera. I still did some photography on the work site. So we've both traveled internationally. And of course, Leaf has gone to Canada. I guess that's not really an of course, because I haven't gone to Canada. Actually, that time is still coming for me. Yeah.
How can a New Yorker not have gone to Canada?
I haven't even gone to the Adirondacks yet. That's happening this summer. You and I are going.
Yeah.
That'll probably make a cool podcast episode.
Oh, yeah, totally. The Adirondacks is home of
Because
the
I'll be
dog.
bringing like all my camera stuff. I'll have a good astrophotography lens. It'll be cool. It'll be cool.
Okay, yeah. So
International travel. Right now, that's not really happening. As we said, Aaron is stuck in Brazil right now.
yeah, he is. He had the choice. I think like he could have come back, but I guess we'll get into that once we talk with him a little bit more. But getting into the let me make sure these levels are good. Yeah, there we go. Getting into the filming and photography side of travel, I kind of want to touch on gear because so many people go into traveling and they think they need so much gear. Like when
they think they need the wrong gear.
Oh yeah, it's crazy because I went to Europe and I didn't really have a good idea of what I was going to use, what I would need. And so I overpacked, honestly. But I found I used my camera, my microphone, my lens, and a tripod, and that was literally it.
And as a photographer, when I went to Mexico, I didn't even use a tripod. I had my camera and a lens, and and a camera strap, and I just walked around with that. That was it.
Yeah.
I just had a camera, lens, a bag, and a camera strap, and some extra batteries.
Yeah, like if you have if you're doing pro shoots when you're out, if you're traveling somewhere to do a professional shoot, then obviously you got to bring the gear. But for the majority of people, camera strap, tripod, microphone if they're vloggers or just want to capture some video, that's plenty.
And maybe more than one lens. I can definitely see why you might want a telephoto, a mid-range, and a wide.
Oh, yeah.
I only had a wide mid-range zoom. It was a pretty standard focal range, 17 to 50 on an APS-C.
Yeah, I had a 10 to 24 on an APS-C, which is pretty darn wide, but I love shooting really wide. And I did use my 50, my classic 50 lens. I have a really old vintage lens. Yeah, so
then the other thing is you need the right gear. So as I said, couple of lenses in my opinion aren't as big a deal in terms of choosing the right one for travel compared to cameras or tripods or microphone. because all those things can get big and heavy and hard to travel with for what they are, especially tripods.
Oh,
So
yeah. No.
so generally you want to keep in mind that you want a light and small camera. So a mirrorless, whether that's full frame or APS-C, is going to serve you much better than a DSLR. When I went to Mexico, I had a Canon 80D, which is an APS-C DSLR, and it's not the lightest camera out there. My Sony a7R III is smaller and lighter, but so much better. So size doesn't make a difference in terms of image quality.
Oh yeah, because my my Fujifilm X-T3 is, I wouldn't say a tiny camera, but it's pretty darn small, and I have really great image quality. Before that, I had a Canon EOS M.
Yeah.
I believe that's tiny, utterly tiny.
And kind of old and cheap, so it's not obviously not going to get really good quality, but it's small, light, easy travel with.
Oh yeah, and I prefer to travel with APS-C because the lenses are so small. It tends to be a little bit cheaper on flights because you can cram in more stuff.
And the lenses and cameras themselves are going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
We just recorded a YouTube video about this, about full frame versus APS-C and the pros and cons. And one of the big things was the cost. Full frame sensors are going to be more expensive, and then the lenses themselves need more glass because it's projecting a bigger image circle onto the sensor. And so the more glass, the more expensive it's going to be.
Oh yeah, it's really expensive.
And you're traveling, that's going to be expensive too.
The expensive just pile up.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But another thing that I feel like people do wrong is they go into, well, I specifically did this. So my family, when we travel, we will cover at least 10 miles a day walking. We move. We do not stand still ever when we're vacationing. And that's really hard when you're a filmer. A photographer, it's a little bit easier.
A little bit.
But when you're filming, and to some extent doing photography, it can be hard to film with that type of pace. So when you go on a vacation, I plan it out so that you have plenty of time to get those shots that you want, to film as much as you want.
Exactly, yeah. And for photographers, like you say, it is a little bit easier, but a lot of us want to spend time getting the best shots we can. So we want to stop and take several minutes to photograph one thing, get several angles, get several settings.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, regardless, a slower pace compared to other types of travel. So if you are traveling with companions, you might want to consider your companions and what their pace is going to be like, or warn them that your pace might be a bit slower because you're going to be stopping to film or photograph.
Oh yeah, definitely, because I know that my filming was impeded because of the pace of my travel. And you know, I myself like to move pretty fast if I'm not filming. Like some of the days in Switzerland, we covered 17 miles, which can sound like a lot at first, but once you're there and you just keep moving throughout the day, it's easy to do that. Like, it's not that hard. Also in France, in Paris especially, that was super fast paced. I spent 2 full days in Paris specifically, and we were going all over the place. Although great bakeries, I can tell you that. And cafes. Although everybody lit up, they all had cigarettes. It was so disgusting. But yeah, just plan for a nice slow vacation, because that's going to be way easier on you if you plan to do a lot of filming. You'll see half the stuff, but you'll get amazing videos and photos. So it's that balance, what you want. And then when traveling, location, that's always fun to plan. And there are the big obvious ones, like you might want to go to London, Paris, Dubai. There are so many big cities, very popular places like Grindelwald in Switzerland. But I found when I went to Europe, I was in some small places, small towns in Wales. One was Caerphilly, and I enjoyed being in those small less populated areas, particularly because I would like meet so many people. Now this also, it depends on what language you speak. So if you're an English speaker and you don't speak any other languages, then you're gonna be limited to who you can talk to, what locals.
Right.
But I found that in Wales it was tons of fun. I met 3 ex-convicts. They had just gotten out of jail the week before, and they were all getting together to have a party at the pub. And I was there for dinner, and they were giving me food choices like, you want this and this, and it was a lot of fun just meeting all the locals, and that sort of stuff is just really fun to do. And I find you don't get that in the big cities, the tourist trap areas.
Yeah, of course I have a much different perspective because I have such a different experience. I went to Tijuana, Mexico, specifically to a lesser populated and very poor area to build a house for a family. And so, yeah, I met the family. I don't speak a lot of Spanish, so I wasn't able to communicate with them a whole lot. But it was still very interesting and eye-opening to see the area and how fortunate us in America are to be so wealthy, even if you're just middle class or poor for American standards. You go down to Mexico, certain parts of Mexico, and they are living in makeshift shacks with tarps as roofs.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. There's tons of poverty down there. I haven't been to Mexico. I'd love to go. Yeah, so you need to get to Canada. That's like the opposite. They have less poverty than the US. It's like white middle class suburbia, the whole country.
Sorry, Canadians, for offending you.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm gonna give
Aaron
a call, see if we can get him on
good.
the line. Let me just give him a quick message. We'll see. Okay. Yeah, but like here where we live, upstate New York, it's interesting because we have like this is Trailer Park Central. We're one of those states where trailer parks are legal, and so you end up with these groups of impoverished people.
Yeah, and yet a trailer is so much preferable to what these people in some of these people in Mexico are living.
Oh yeah, like it's a mansion.
Really, yeah, it is, and it's very, like I said, very eye-opening, very humbling.
Oh yeah, totally. You don't see any of that in most of the European countries. Western Europe, I should say. If you go Eastern Europe,
then yeah, you're gonna see a lot more.
Yeah, you're gonna see that. Actually, I kind of want to get Myron Platty on this. I know somebody who lives in Russia currently. I don't know if maybe he would. I don't
know.
I'll see. I'm just gonna give Aaron a call.
It's actually been really nice here, man. The last week has been pretty hot, man. But right now it's nice.
Oh, that's good.
Actually wearing a sweatshirt this morning, so it's a good feeling, man. It's been the first time I've been able to wear a hoodie, and yeah, because the seasons here are opposite, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh right.
I think you guys are moving into spring, summer.
Yeah. So you're moving into fall.
And here it's moving into. They only have 2 seasons here. They only have summer and winter, and it's moving into winter right now. So yeah.
Yeah. No,
it's a pleasant time of the year, man. A little dry, but it's nice.
Yeah, we just got over our last snow, I think, of the year. It was.
Hopefully, it's the last.
Dude,
get out of here, man! Really?
No, yeah, we had 4. We had 4 inches on April 19th, I think. 16th. No.
19th was yesterday.
Yeah, but
today's 20th.
That is some bullshit, man. That is some bullshit.
Oh yeah, no.
Hey, am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll probably just censor it.
Yeah, you're good. Do whatever you want. Yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about your podcast and stuff? I'm super stoked that you guys are getting this going, and yeah, man, it'll be sick. Just tell me what your goals are, your motivation, stuff like that. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, you want to start?
Sure. So Leaf was the one who had the idea for this podcast, and of course, we're chummy, so he invited me on as a co-host. And it's a very broad range of topics that we're covering, and of course, since we're in the creative production fields, we're gonna focus a lot on photo, video, etc. But just now we were talking about travel, international travel, what you might want for travel, filming, and photography, and then we got on the subject of the experience of traveling itself. And I've gone to Mexico the past 2 summers on a mission trip to build houses for impoverished families.
Right.
So, of course,
Right,
my
incredible
experience...
man. That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, so my experience was much different from Leaf's, who traveled for recreation.
Yeah, in rich Europe. And so there's like that.
Absolutely different spot.
Oh yeah. So Aaron, when you got down to Brazil, like I know there's a lot of poverty down there, but have you been exposed to a lot of that? What the heck?
Okay, so I live in the state of Sao Paulo. So it's a little bit different here. It's actually, okay, so compared to New York, it maybe isn't considered rich, but I'm living in probably the richest part of Brazil.
Okay.
It's like Sao Paulo, if anyone who's listening who doesn't know, Sao Paulo is the economic center of Sao Paulo. So pretty much, how do I put this? Sao Paulo is like the New York City of Brazil.
Okay, yeah.
And Rio de Janeiro would be like the Los Angeles, for example.
Okay.
And so yes, obviously there's like richer families living in other places, but the majority of people here are pretty well off. Of course, you're gonna see like favelas when you drive into the city.
Okay.
However, it's really not impoverished as much as a lot of people might think.
Okay, so yeah, that's interesting.
So was this your first time traveling internationally? Besides Canada?
So I had traveled internationally. I don't know if you can count Canada as internationally. Technically, yes. But
yeah.
Other than, I'd only traveled within the States and Canada quite a bit. But other than that, man, it's first time hopping on a plane and going overseas. So pretty stoked on it, man. It's always been a dream. Like, I don't know, not a dream per se, but it's always been a push for me to make it out and travel. It feels really good to make it happen for a whole year, man. I'm really lucky and blessed for this opportunity.
Oh yeah.
So when you first entered Brazil, what were your immediate thoughts?
Immediate thoughts. First thing I did when I stepped off the plane is I had to use the bathroom real bad, man. And I walked into the bathroom and I see a garbage bin next to the toilet, and I'm like, that's kind of strange.
Oh yeah.
And then I remembered their plumbing system is, I think, I could be wrong for the reasoning behind this, but they separate their toilet tissue from the toilet. So they don't put it in the water. They put it in the separate trash bin right next to the toilet, which when I arrived, I was like, I thought it was going to smell so bad and be like, oh my God, this is disgusting, you know? Really, it's not that bad. I've gotten 100% used to it, but it was just very strange to kind of have to, man, I threw my toilet tissue into the toilet on accident just from like muscle memory so many times, man. I've clogged a handful of toilets on accident. Yeah, man, it's brutal, but yeah, there's little differences like that that are unique to every culture. And yeah, it's I mean, I'm not, anyone who's listening, I'm not saying, oh, like Brazil is some third world country. It's really fine. Like the trash cans are covered and stuff. It's sanitary.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a big difference. And also there was just a ton of differences, man. When I arrived here, it was kind of, I just got started with a new world, you know, like my family arrived to the airport like 2 hours late. So they found me sleeping on a bench when they arrived. And I just kind of started living with a new family, man, which was awesome. Just a very cool experience.
Oh, yeah, that'd be...
And man, I don't even know where to start. I mean, literally everything in my life changed. The family dynamic, you change families, obviously. You're in a new country, man, your foods, I'm not speaking English anymore. And I apologize, actually. I should have said this before. This sounds stupid. I actually called one of my friends here who speaks English before this podcast to practice a little bit because my English has gotten really rusty. Like, I know it's not possible to forget your mother maybe actually this is an example of me forgetting mother tongue, like
Yeah.
your first language.
Yeah.
But like I just don't remember shit, man. It's really embarrassing. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
No, so I apologize if I'm a little like if I forget words here and there because I've just been speaking Portuguese for the past like 6 months.
Oh, don't
So-
worry.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I probably messed up speaking English far more than you do.
Right on. Well, you and me, Noah. You and me.
And Leaf can't read, you know.
Yeah, right on. Are we doing this podcast right now? Like, is it rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rolling.
Right on.
Yeah,
Can
so
I do a quick introduction?
what?
Can I do a quick introduction?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That sounds. I mean, if you don't know, I mean, I'll introduce all of us actually. Because have you guys introduced yourselves?
Little bit.
A little bit.
A
Yeah.
little bit? All right.
But you can
So
give us
Noah is an absolute beast, childhood friend. Leaf is my cousin, pretty much a brother. Fun fact: my dad and his dad are brothers, and my mom and his mom are sisters. So we're pretty much siblings. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So these two are absolute beasts who are hosting this podcast, and I'm super excited to see where these guys go. And I'm on this podcast and relevant for this travel episode because I'm a youth exchange student with Rotary in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So that's why we are here. So hopefully this is enjoyable, and I hope it's just gonna be like a free flowing environment. We'll have some fun with it, man.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, Aaron, so in the US, social media seems to be like a really big thing, especially in high school, like image on your social media. Do you think that's the case down in Sao Paulo with, the teenage crowd?
Absolutely, 100%. The thing is, when I lived in the U.S., I kind of felt, I don't know, I felt like we were special for some reason, but we're really not. People really aren't all that different. So coming here, teenagers are not all that, like if they have the opportunity to sleep in till 1 o'clock in the evening, they'll do it, man. Like teenagers are not all that different across the world.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, like, I have exchange friends all over the world. Like, if you look on my Snap Map thing on Snapchat, whole world, man, like every continent covered.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing, man. Social media is huge. Like, if you're living in this world today without social media, like, you're missing a chunk, man. It's like a little resume, you know.
Mhm.
First thing you ask when you meet someone, like when I arrived at school, for example, the teacher had me write my Instagram on the board. Like, it's such a fundamental piece
Oh,
because
that's-
it's like you don't have to trade an email anymore. You can trade your Instagram or, like, I don't know, WhatsApp, I guess, is social media. It's more of a messaging system,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
but it's such a big piece, man. I don't know. It's for sure fundamental here as well.
Okay. Yeah.
People care quite a bit about it. Speaking about social media, man, during this quarantine, I am ashamed to say, but I've hopped on the TikTok train solidly, man. You guys know what that is?
Oh,
Yeah, I went to the dark side as well a couple months ago. I browse it every now and again.
Good
I have not.
Lord, no, me too. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah,
I've even made
same.
videos because I started off just fucking around, just being like, oh, this is the funniest shit ever. But then I'm actually just like making videos now, and I'm embarrassed, and I really cannot wait for quarantine to be over, so I just don't have time to do it anymore.
Oh, I know
It's terrible.
I haven't gotten on TikTok yet, but I am really close to being pushed over the edge, because of all the stressful homework I have.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
you mentioned school. What was it like going into a school where you didn't speak the native language at first?
Man, interesting. Also because Brazilians really don't speak English very well.
Okay.
They have English classes. However, it's like a Spanish class in a United States high school. The majority. I'm not saying all of them are terrible, but a lot of them you're not going to become fluent. So they would know like individual words, and they're so eager to try to learn English with you or to like impress you with their English, and they'll just shout like random words. Like I remember when I first walked in, someone shouted, pineapple, you know, just like random shit. So funny. And no, it's a really good time. Brazilians are the nicest people, so it wasn't hard to make friends.
Okay.
And also, I'm not gonna lie to you, I had a huge advantage when I arrived. There was another exchange student from Tasmania. Shout out Michaela Anderson. She's a beast. And she had already been going to this school and learning Portuguese for 6 months, I want to say.
Okay.
So she kind of like took me under her wing for the first solid few months there. And helped me out with learning Portuguese, helped me out with the like going to parties and stuff, school culture, everything.
Oh yeah, that'd be hard.
She really saved my life. But it was fun, man. It depends on who you are, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really fun, I think, to just like jump in head first into a whole new group of people and kind of not have like a chip on your shoulder or have any like history with these people. I know growing up in a small town and going to a small high school in New York, it was like, you know, everyone. And there's almost like, it's almost kind of heavy because any shit, like if you messed up or fucked up in the past, it like that kind of rides with you. But with these new people, it's like such a fresh start to meet everyone. And I don't know, really, really refreshing, man. I enjoyed it. And I'm friends with everyone in school now. Really good time, man.
Oh, that's nice.
So you also mentioned quarantine and how that made you download TikTok. But can you tell us a little bit about your day-to-day life before and after the whole quarantine thing started?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So before, I would wake up at probably like 6:30, and just throw together a quick breakfast, and then shoot over. I would walk to school or bike to school usually, and school starts at 7:30. For those who are listening, a little bit. I think school's in New York. What, 8 o'clock?
Yeah, 8:15.
So a little bit earlier. Yeah, you guys are homeschooled, right? So this doesn't apply to you guys, but
well, no, I'm at college, so.
and I do school. School is really short, and it's a lot different. The structure is very different. You're in one classroom, and you have 3 blocks with rest breaks in between them of like 15 minutes. So it's like elementary school kind of. The teachers rotate.
Okay.
But the students stay in the classrooms.
Oh.
And then school lets off at 12:30, and then I would walk home, eat atrociously sized lunch. That's a Brazilian thing. Their lunches are huge. Like their breakfast and dinner are kind of just snacking, but their lunch is like the most important meal of the day. So they go in on lunch, man. Like
I feel that.
It's a little later. They usually eat around 1:30.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, and after that, man, usually I take a power nap for about, I don't know, 15 minutes, half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually try to do some productive things with some time after. And then afterwards, I go to my local club, which is like has a couple pools has a 50 meter and a 25 meter pool.
Oh, that's
has
nice.
a ton of tennis courts, basketball courts, in the soccer fields, and obviously soccer fields of Brazil. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And the academy, how do you say it? The gym. They call it the gym the academy. I forgot. So yeah, it's I go there every day with my friends, or with a friend, and yeah, he's actually my best friend here in Brazil for sure. It's funny how you get close with the workout buddies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah, you would know. And anyway, it's nice, man. We get our workout in.
Yeah.
Usually we sit out. They have like a little public area where you can buy some food or whatnot, hang out, chat. We usually play soccer afterwards with a group.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes there's stuff going on at the club. Sometimes there's stuff going on like at the bars, wherever.
Yeah.
It's all good, man.
What's legal drinking age?
18, but I don't drink here.
Oh yeah.
If I'm going to the bars.
You're Rotary.
I just hang out with friends and whatnot. It's like a hangout place. I feel like bar is a heavy word in the U.S. Like, oh, you're going to the bar. It's like you're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah.
At least with the younger kids in college and stuff. Maybe not. Maybe I'm skewed on that.
No, I'd say bar is like
it's,
bar. When you say you're going to a bar, you're gonna get hammered, and then like when it's more like a French sort of like a pub in England or France, or like you go to the pub and then get some like get a couple beers and just drink with some friends. That's different. Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends, man, for sure. I wouldn't know, but yeah, just go to like these little bars sometimes. Go hang out with some friends, and then come back to the house and sleep. It's really good, man. So not many responsibilities as an exchange student.
Yeah.
So it's a good life, man. Good life for sure.
Yeah, that sounds fun, but I wonder if I'd like it because I like a lot of structure. Like for me, I like to have, I don't know, I like to have deadlines and I like to have stuff to do.
Yeah, I as well. I can't really stand not being productive, and this quarantine period has really not been a great time for productivity despite all the free time.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
now
don't let that be a deterrent from foreign exchange. Like you can decide how much structure you want in your life for sure.
yeah.
You can always join a new club or a new like sports team or a new academic team or join
Yeah.
a new school club. Like you can't always take away that stuff to take away structure and give yourself free time. So foreign exchange is I think it's just an amazing opportunity to, you can like really build your year. It's what you make of it. So if you want it to be highly structured with a lot of stuff to do, there's a ton of opportunities. Like I forgot to mention, I teach a lot of English classes as well.
Oh.
Cool.
So I do have stuff to do and structure, and I've been doing a lot of writing. And yeah, I devote my time to TikTok now. There's stuff to do, man. Like if that's what's holding you back from doing something, you can add structure always, man. Like I wouldn't be worried about, oh my god, I don't have enough stuff to do. Like you can always do more stuff.
Yeah. You can
It's
always...
funny, like I like that you guys are saying that. Like I appreciate that's your mentality. That's a good mentality to have. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to go on this year to not do shit. Like a lot of people go on a foreign exchange to have like a quote unquote vacation. And I fucking love that you guys are just getting after it, just motivated, man. Like I appreciate that for sure. It's a good mentality.
No, I think I got that from probably
your dad.
My dad. Well, even my mom too. Like she's super driven. I mean, that's why I'm going to the military. So
yeah.
Bless our parents. Let's take a minute to appreciate the parents, man.
Oh yeah.
Legends, the Jansons.
Yeah. So then, when did the whole like COVID-19 thing hit Brazil and start affecting your day-to-day life?
Okay, let me think about this. I remember this. Carnival is like a very major holiday here, and I was in Sao Paulo for Carnival, and I remember the first COVID case arrived like the day after I left in the city that I was in.
Ooh.
And that's like late February.
Okay.
And then no one really did anything. Like, yes, there was news cases, just like keeping on top of it. No one really did like any social distancing or quarantine when it was just one case. I think that's the case with most countries as well. It's not like when one arrives, they're gonna have complete isolation right away.
Yeah.
So I think it was like a week after that, and then it arrived. I don't live in Sao Paulo. I live in an interior city, a little bit further away.
Yeah.
And then it was like a week later, it arrived to a city right next to me called Campinas.
Okay.
And then I think like maybe a week after that, school ended. Like it was put on pause, and we went into the social isolation. It's not quarantine.
Yeah.
We're just recommended to stay inside. I think it's the same deal with you guys.
Oh yeah,
all pretty much. Restaurants closed and all the public spaces except for supermarkets are open.
Yep, we have same deal.
So it hit around the same time, along with the laws to go with it.
Yeah.
Here in New York.
Actually, let me pull this up. I'm on my phone right now. I'm curious what the numbers are in Brazil compared to New York. Let's
New York is
Florida
like
or Sao
I
Paulo,
haven't
New York.
kept track with the numbers here in New York.
neither have I.
I know they're up there compared to other states.
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, New York. New York is fucked, man. New York is fucked.
Yeah, pretty much.
We all gonna die.
No, actually, I don't want to say like this is a fact because I don't know if it is a fact, but I'm pretty sure I cannot go home. The state mandated that anyone who's a citizen of, I think it was New York, has to return home, or is like recommended, like highly recommended to come home, and thus a lot of exchange students have gone home already, like the vast majority. But I think the Sao Paulo airport has closed flights to New York because both cities are pretty heavily inundated with coronavirus. So,
oh yeah.
So go ahead. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I'm typing right now. I'm looking up numbers for COVID in
that's fine.
different countries.
So before COVID hit you, when were you planning to return to New York?
July, I think July 16th or 17th.
So it hasn't yet affected you coming back because you decided to stay there.
So I was pretty close to being drug home by my rotary. Is that a word? Drug? Like
dragged?
It'd be dragged. No, hang on.
Well, I don't know.
Like
dragged home.
Apparently none of us can do English.
I really don't know. You get it though. There was a lot of people in New York, like in Rotary, or even my mom was like, I think it might be better if you come home, man. Or a lot of my friends were kind of pressuring me to as well, and I was tempted, man. I was tempted because like a lot of my exchange student friends here were shooting home to wherever they live, France, Mexico, Switzerland. Even I had a friend who lives right next to you guys. Right next to Cooperstown, actually, who went home. And when he went home, I was like, oh, shit, maybe I should go home.
Yeah, we got cousins in Cooperstown. Did you bring back COVID? Yeah.
I really don't know, man. Like, I'm happy that I'm still here. Like, I would rather be in quarantine, continuing to develop my vocabulary in a new language. Like, I'm fluent, yes. But there's, like, certain, like, little pickup slang and stuff like this. And I'd much rather stay here. And it's nice. It's warm. It's like, I don't know in Fahrenheit anymore. It's like 20 degrees Celsius right now.
Okay, so it's nice. Like in the 60s Fahrenheit.
Yeah, a little over maybe.
Yeah, it's mid 60s, upper 60s maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
All I know is 20 degrees Celsius is really nice for a house temperature. But yeah, no.
Okay, here we go. So the total cases of coronavirus in the U.S. are fucking huge, man. 767,000. And the second place is Spain with 200,000. So it's like more than 3 times the second place finisher after the coronavirus, man.
Yeah, but you also have to keep in mind that the U.S. has a much, much larger population. So cases per capita might be lower.
Instagram about the U.S. People were always like ripping on me, like there's always these little rivalries between exchange students and like whose country is best, and they're always like ripping on the U.S. exchange students, like, oh, you guys can't handle the coronavirus, and you're not wrong, but also it's you can't deny that's a fucking huge number, man.
Yeah, indeed, yeah, like. Yeah, I'm not going to name any names, but there were some people that did not take this seriously enough. I'm not going to go political here.
Let's stay away from politics.
And then Brazil is just under 400 or just under 40,000.
Okay.
And Brazil is much, much larger than the U.S. However, take into account the medical system in Brazil. Maybe it's developed as the system in the U.S. So I think there's a lot more cases that just haven't been identified. And there's a lot of people living in poverty. Like, you are correct. You mentioned in the beginning of the podcast about like favelas and things like this. If you go to the northeast of Brazil, I traveled there when I arrived, and there's a lot of poverty for sure. And I really think there's a lot of people who are getting the coronavirus and just thinking like, oh, it's just the flu or something.
Yeah.
And not getting diagnosed. Or a lot of, not even poor people, just like there's a lot of people who probably get it and just stay in the house or whatever, which is fine. Like, that's That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
As long as they stay in their house.
Yeah, as long as they aren't getting like really severe symptoms, then
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
well, that's what we're
Yeah, I'm a
encouraged.
little worried. I'm a little worried about coronavirus spreading to the favelas. If you guys don't know, favelas are like the like poorest place in Brazil. There's like all these really shitty houses that are like cubes made out of like tin and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and some like the nice like the top end like the posh favelas are made out of like brick and stuff. It's like falling apart still, and it's just all these houses on like a hillside next to the highway, just all stacked on top of each other.
Wow.
You actually, I'm gonna send you a photo. You can receive it on your phone while you're talking to me. Actually,
Yeah.
when I first saw that, I was like, oh my god, people live there. That's insane. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
shoot this your way.
Oh yeah, and Aaron, send us the photo of your costume that you were in when you're at Carnival.
No, I don't know if I want to share that, man. That's embarrassing. It's funny though.
Can we just say what you were
I
dressed
just
up
shot you a
as?
photo of the favelas.
I haven't heard about this costume.
Aaron, do you want to enlighten?
No, so yeah, hold on. Well, let me tell you the story now. Carnival is like it's a very free holiday. So guys traditionally dress up in like skirts and stuff. I don't know if it's traditional, but now everyone does it. And girls dress up in like all sorts of scandalous things, you know. And so I dressed up as an angel. So I had a white short skirt on with like short under it. And no shirt, and then a pair of angel wings and like glitter all over my face. Glitter is huge. Everyone uses glitter. Anyway, man, I cannot tell you how many gay guys slapped my ass in the course of like 4 hours at this. They call them bloquinhos. And these hold on. They have like these parades and these places called bloquinhos. It's like translated in English is like little block, but it's not. It's huge. They have like a block with some funkero, which is like someone who plays this certain type of music.
Yeah.
With like 40,000 people like in a block, like a city block.
Wow.
And just like or even more sometimes. I don't know. And anyway, it's ridiculous, man. You have to just plow through people when you're walking. Like it's everyone's shoulder to shoulder. It's a good time, man. It's crazy.
Man,
Gotta watch your ass though. Let people around try to slap your ass, especially if you're wearing a little short white skirt.
Yo, Aaron, I gotta get down there at some point. So we gotta, in a couple of years, we gotta travel down there and some spring break, college spring break.
A couple of years, man. I'm going next year, or not next year. Yeah, next year in February. Coming down for Carnival again.
Actually, how much? Yeah, how much do flights cost?
Actually, they're kind of expensive, but I'm gonna come down with a friend from Riviera, São Lourenço, which is like a beach here in São Paulo. And I met him while I was on vacation. I was just going to the beach one day.
Yeah.
And we ended up linking, and he is now living in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Oh.
And I'm gonna go work with him in Fort Lauderdale for a while when I get home.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're gonna shoot back down, and I'll stay with him for I don't know, a month maybe. So yeah, you're welcome. Probably I'll talk to him.
Yeah, no, I gotta get down to Carnival because I that is one of those big festivals like around the world that seems like a lot of fun to participate in.
God, man, it is crazy.
And look at the ladies.
It's such a good time. It's such a good time.
Hey, I do like Brazilian girls. Shut up.
Man, every girl's nice, man. Like that's a big stereotype, I think.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
Brazilian girls are beautiful, but come on, the whole
No,
world's looking pretty good. Come on.
Yeah, no, the whole world is looking pretty good. Yep, just really explore it, Get out there and see new sights.
I don't know why that sounded like it was a euphemism, Leaf. I don't know why. I just really want to, explore these Brazilian girls.
And our podcast now turns into pornography.
I'm sorry if I got sidetracked. All my conversations always, I don't know, degrade to sex, poop, or like something like that.
No. This is just This is completely free.
It's just us talking.
Yeah, no. Pretty chill vibes. We don't want to censor too much because that's how you.
Someone's going to Coachella, man. Pretty chill vibes. We're out here just having a little podcast, smoking a little doink out here, having a good time, man.
Oh yeah. But
good stuff, man. I'm sorry if I got off track. You guys have any other questions? Like, I don't know, any direction for this podcast?
Not that I can think of right now.
Oh yeah, Aaron. Do you want to share your story of you rubbing your nipples, getting your nipples rubbed off, while surfing?
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah. Okay, I can do that for you. That's a good one. So the same friend actually who's living in Fort Lauderdale right now. I went. That's how I met him actually. I was out like hiking next to the beach, and he was out there, and we ended up talking. He speaks English and Portuguese, and I don't know. We just ended up surfing together, and we surfed for a long time, like a really long time. And I didn't have a shirt on, like one of those surf shirts. And anyway. You know how I have like my sternum is sticking out as well?
Yeah, you have
like
the beak.
Yeah, exactly. That shit like was rubbing and hurting real bad.
Okay.
But I was not about to be a pussy and be like, oh, I don't want to surf anymore. Like I was having a really good time.
Yeah.
And additionally, not only my sternum, but my nipples were just killing me, man, killing me. Or what were nipples? And, anyway, man, I got out of the water. And 1 second. E aí?
Tem mais roupa suja para lavar?
Acho que não tem mais. Só isso. Tem mais que eu sei.
Olha.
Obrigado. Sorry, my hostess here.
No problem.
Anyway, where was I? My nipples got out. Oh yeah, so we got out of the water, and what happened is, I wasn't gonna be like tell this friend who I just met. Oh man, like I need to put some Band-Aids in my tits, you know? Like, I didn't want to be a pussy. And anyway, we end up like hanging out for the rest of the day. I end up eating like some sushi with him and whatnot. And then I get back home, man. And I like, when I lie down on my bed and like the covers like rub against my nipples, man, I was like, I swear to God, I was crying. I was like, oh my God, this hurts so bad. I ended up like taping them up and stuff. It was so embarrassing. Absolutely brutal though. Yeah, just destroyed. Just got rid of my nipples completely, man. Just rubbed them straight off.
Are they back yet?
They are. They made a full recovery for sure. I can say that.
Oh.
They go back quick, actually. For those of you who don't know, nipples grow really quick. They do. It's like I think it's similar to the skin on the inside of your mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grows back really quick.
Yep.
Nipples too. Well, you know, learn something new every day, man.
We've been enlightened.
Yeah, no, we just now know more about the medical field.
I don't know if that's don't take that as a fact, man. I'm just fucking around with you guys. I don't know, maybe they just go back really slow. Who knows? I thought they went fast though, for sure. Man, hold on. I'm getting hot now. The temperature variant between night and day is a lot. I have to take off my sweatshirt. To die, man. Okay. Yeah, so you guys were just like, what, do you have a time frame for this podcast?
Not really.
Or you still want me to talk? I can talk forever.
Yeah, actually, so you didn't you accidentally make it to Colombia at one point? Or another
Colombia?
No, not Colombia. Where? You got out of the country
I don't know
back.
if I can tell this story right now.
Okay.
Because it's like, yeah, that's the story for another time, man. That's a big story.
All right, yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's good. But yeah, if you have any...
Yeah, just for reference, there's a lot of stuff right around Brazil. Like, it's bordering Argentina. I think to the south. Hold on. Let me pull up a map. I don't want to fuck this up and seem like an idiot on your podcast. To the south, it is bordering Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay.
Okay, yeah.
And to the north, it's bordering. I don't remember the names of these places in English.
You can just spit them out.
And stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, Brazil is huge for Those of you who don't realize that.
You're breaking up a little bit. Hello?
You there?
Do you hear me?
Yep, there you
Yep,
go.
now we can.
Right on. No, I was just saying Brazil's huge, man. Just like an absolutely massive country, and a lot of people don't realize like just how big it is, man. It's you have rainforest, you have like desert stuff, you have everything, man. It's crazy. I think, excuse me, I just burped. I think it even snows in the south sometimes.
Wow.
Like Rio Grande do Sul, or maybe like Santa Catarina, maybe, but like very rarely. Yeah, really, really amazing country, man. Brazil is such a rich country and resources.
Yeah.
Just so much stuff going on here, man. So it's amazing for sure. I'm really lucky that I was able to make an exchange here. I'm really happy I can call it like a second home now. Like I really feel at home when I come to Brazil. For
Yeah,
sure.
that'd be interesting to have that experience, because like you really have to spend a long time in an area to make it feel like home. That's
Yeah. It took I don't know. I feel like I adapt fairly quickly.
Mhm.
I don't want to seem not humble. I just say in humble, not humble. I'm sorry, my English is shit. But
good.
I think I do adapt fairly quickly. Like there's a lot of exchange students who spent the first solid 4 months of their exchange like crying and missing their home countries, and
Yeah.
I really didn't take any time to be sad. I kind of settled in pretty quick, but to really feel like, oh, this is my home, I had to wait on my Portuguese to become fluent, which probably took like 4 months.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, after that 4 months, and after I was able to go out and, I don't know, have a conversation with someone on the street, it really felt like home, which is nice. I'm happy about that, and
That
for
would be.
sure, man.
Yeah. No, it's. Let me think.
So, looping this a little bit back to creative production, you're not a photographer or a filmer, but you do have a little bit of an Instagram following.
I'm a TikToker, baby. I'm a TikToker. I'm fucking around. I don't know. Sorry, what was your question? I totally bowled you over. What's up? No, I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know if I really have a specific question.
No, it's all right.
But as I
can talk
said,
about
you
my Instagram and what's going on with Instagram in Brazil for sure. There's a lot of photo opportunities in Brazil. Lots of animals. So if you're looking at like nature photography or filmmaking,
Mhm.
you are the perfect place, man. There's a lot of different stuff to film and take pictures of whatnot. I'm not, by no means am I like a photographer or anything like this. Like you guys are. You guys are into it. I just take pictures with my iPhone camera, you know?
Yeah.
But no, if you're like thinking about coming to Brazil as a filmmaker, photographer, there's a lot. Like there's a ton of art as well. Like that's something that I really love about Sao Paulo specifically, and Rio de Janeiro as well. Tons of art, like these huge murals and stuff, which is cool to capture in some film.
Oh yeah.
And the beaches, the best beaches in the world. That's not a lie. That is not a lie. Really beautiful. I've swam with on like coral reefs and stuff. I swam with those huge sea turtles. You know.
Wow.
I've seen a shark while swimming, like just diving in crystal clear water. It's really nice, man.
That's
Gee.
so cool.
So there's a lot of opportunities to film stuff and animals. Like in my city, you'll see like toucans flying around and like how do you say, Leaf? How do you say this bird in Portuguese? It's arara.
What is
It's
it?
you know that bird that Grandma Peg used to have.
Oh,
It's a macaw.
macaw. Yeah, it's a macaw.
Yeah.
Your grandmother used to have a macaw?
Yeah.
My city is
so
actually named after macaws, which in Portuguese is arara. So my city, the name is Araras. So we have a ton of these macaws going around. We have like a center with like a huge, like a enormous cage for macaws. At like the center, I guess, which is cool. But then we also have them flying around wild. Or if you go to like a beach, you'll see them around in trees.
Yo, that'd be cool.
But yeah, I mean, I live. The focus of my life here in Brazil is mostly outdoor stuff. So
Yeah.
surfing, hiking, like spending time on the beach. obviously going to the gym and whatnot as well. But so a lot of what I see is that, but I'm sure there's a lot of other opportunities to film. I don't know what else we would film. They have everything here, man. It's huge. Brazil is huge. You have everything. You go to the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah.
You can go to Northeast with like the best beaches. You can go to the plateaus. You can go to these waterfalls in the south, which are huge.
Yeah, some
Lots
of the
of really cool opportunities for filming, for sure.
yeah.
You would not be missing out if you came here, or you would be missing out if you didn't come here.
Yeah.
I don't know my expressions anymore, man. I don't know my expressions. I fuck this up all the time.
Well,
Different languages have different expressions. So like, what's a good example? I don't know, but they have. You can say a certain set of words, an expression, and it makes sense in English, but it doesn't make sense in Portuguese.
Yeah.
like
And I'm so used to it that sometimes I'll translate it into Portuguese, and then my Brazilian friends are like, "What the fuck are you saying, man? Like that doesn't make any sense."
wait, what is it?
And
If some butts were pots and pans, we wouldn't need something in Tinkers, or there's a really long one.
Huh.
It wouldn't make any sense.
there's a lot of smaller ones that we use every day that we don't even realize are expressions.
Whatever floats
and
your
now I've
boat.
gotten to the point where I'm saying Brazilian expressions in English. So when I speak English, I accidentally translate from Portuguese.
funny.
And like little stuff, how they say stuff, the structure. Like I've started to say on accident, I have 18 years, you know, because that's how so you say I'm 18. Like
Yeah.
I tenho 18 anos. I have 18 years, but in English it's I am.
18.
And I always have to remind myself of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, little stuff like that just messes me up, man. I gotta practice my languages for sure.
Yeah.
My Spanish has gotten pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
I understand 100% of Spanish since I've learned Portuguese.
Okay,
Which is really exciting for me. Because Spanish and Portuguese are pretty similar.
Yeah.
But I can't speak hardly any Spanish. I have a bunch of Mexican friends, so I learned a lot of slang and like bad words. But I can't really speak Spanish. I just understand it.
Yeah.
And some Italian too, actually. Some Italian. I understand some Italian now, which I'm pretty excited about.
Well, when I was in Italy, we were at this little restaurant, and nobody at the restaurant spoke English, and we didn't speak Italian, but Kate knows a decent amount of French, and Molly knows a decent amount of Spanish, and with their ability to speak Spanish and French decently, we were able to get by with those two languages because you could kind of understand each other. So I felt that was
absolutely, man. That's you're 100% spot on there. The Latin languages, which are what, Romanian, French, Spanish, Portuguese,
And
I wanna
Greek,
say. I might be missing one.
maybe?
no Greek is a
No, Greek is not.
Okay.
That's a no.
yeah that's
I
an
think there's
Eastern.
just the 4 Latin languages. And anyway, yeah, it's really cool. They say that after you learn 2 Latin languages, you can speak the others. I don't know about Romanian. Romanian is like a lesser spoken language, so I've never even heard it.
Isn't
So I'm
it?
just gonna say with the major 3 languages.
Yeah.
But they say like once you learn, I don't know, French or 4. I mean,
Yeah.
wait, did I lose count? 4. Yeah, there's 5 total with
Yeah.
Romanian. 4 if you're just speaking French, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. So once you speak 2 of them, they'll say that you can pick up the others pretty quickly.
I believe
But
that.
like just a case study, very very simple. My friends who speak Spanish, who are exchange students here from Spain, Argentina, Mexico, any Spanish-speaking countries, they learned Portuguese so much faster than everyone else.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Me from the U.S. or my friends from Denmark who speak Danish. It took us a solid 4 months to pick it up, you know, or more. I had an Australian friend who never even learned it, you know, like you have to be proactive about learning. But the Spanish people, man, they learn fast. Like they were able to speak when they arrived almost because it's so similar.
Yeah. Now is there a
Kind of jealous of that.
is there a big difference between Portuguese, Portuguese spoken in Portugal and in Brazil?
Yeah, big difference for sure. They use a lot of words that are completely different,
Okay.
and the accent is different. Let me think. So like, the accent in Brazil would be like Portuguese do Brazil. And then let me think about their accent. In Portugal, it'd be like Português de Portugal.
That sounds almost Russian.
It's like it's more, I mean, given anyone who's actually like from Portugal or from Brazil listening to this, I'm fucking sorry if I fucked that up because I have like a New York accent as well. But it's like almost more guttural, and their R's are different as well. I actually accidentally speak with a little bit of an accent from Portugal because I learned, like, one of my friends when I first arrived here was from Portugal, so I kind of picked up some of their tendencies.
Yeah.
And my Portuguese is kind of it's a conglomerate of quite a few things. So I speak with like my Spanish friends a lot here.
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of a Spanish Portuguese accent. Obviously, I have my American Portuguese accent.
Yeah.
And then my Brazilian Portuguese accent. That's a funny thing, actually. The accents in Brazil, there's a ton. Like, there's a city an hour away that has a completely different accent.
Oh, that is weird.
But that's nice. Like right now, even though I have a crazy accent, Brazilians are so used to hearing other accents in Portuguese that they think that I'm like from Brazil sometimes. They're like, oh, so where are you from? Because they hear my accent, they think I'm from Portugal, or they think I'm from like the southeast or something, just the south of Brazil.
Yeah.
So that's definitely interesting. All the accents here. It's some are uglier than others, for sure. But I think it's interesting for sure. Sorry, I'm talking a lot here on this podcast. I want to hear about you guys too. I know I'm technically like the guest, but given this is your first podcast, shout out to these guys for getting this stuff going. First podcast, big step for sure. I want to hear about you guys too.
Oh wow! So yeah, here has been pretty interesting. So we had a performance. This was fun story. So we were in a production of Oliver, and that of course got canceled.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and what I've found interesting is that the whole theater industry has just crashed here, which is a huge effect on New York's economy because we're like the theater capital of the world. But no, that was pretty crazy. It's like so much has been altered in the way we do stuff. I'm still trying to get used to it.
It's just an idea. Is there any way you can bring your theater production online? Like, I know there's a lot of I've been impressed actually by how much has gone online with the work and school and whatnot. But I mean, could you do like an Instagram live of your performance? Or can you not even spend that time with your cast members? Like, is that not?
Unfortunately, I don't think that that's possible because the whole school has had to shut down and we can't really see each other.
Yeah, like
and interact.
Yeah, all the individual members of the cast can't get together.
Yeah.
So, like right now, the only people I see are, other than in my immediate family, are Noah and Waylon, your brother, and yeah. No, he's been around a lot. He's super bored.
I imagine, man.
Oh yeah.
I just talked to him a couple of days ago, but not like actually talked to him. He just sent me a couple pictures of my Adirondack map.
Yeah.
And actually, a question. I don't know if this is podcast material. Actually, fuck, I'll ask you afterwards. Just a family vacation question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is it, man. This podcast is so like free flowing. It feels like just a normal conversation with you guys. It's nice. You have a good format here for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, while we're here on this first podcast, do you guys want to talk about what's going to make this podcast unique? Like, to have a successful podcast, you kind of have to have that factor, you know, like maybe you could, I don't know, for example, there's a lot of podcasts where, or not a lot, like a unique way to form a podcast. Drink a bottle of wine, and the podcast ends when you finish the bottle of wine. Obviously not for you guys, but like there's a lot of unique factors that make a podcast. And I'm really, really stoked that you guys got this going and excited to see where it goes. And I think it would be valuable if you don't already have this planned out. Just have like some unique like twerk to your twerk. I don't know, to your podcast.
Probably tweak.
A little different.
Yeah, I've thought about this a little bit, and I don't know
Yeah.
how many people are still listening because we've surpassed an hour in the recording.
Oh.
But I haven't really come up with anything that can make this super unique, except the fact that it's pretty much just a conversation between Leaf,
Yeah.
me, the maybe a guest such as you, and then kind of to the audience a little bit.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, giving this some thought. Like I was thinking about stuff we could do while we're podcasting, but I'm thinking more about like the unique, just being our sort of the way we do it, like the style.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of podcasts are much more structured with like set interviews, whereas Leaf and I didn't plan out anything about this episode except the general idea of travel.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I want to develop something a little bit more for this podcast as we get into this. But so I'm just kind of testing it out right now. Kind of dipping my feet in the water.
You guys are supernatural with it. I'm excited to see where you go with this because you're both conversationalists, obviously.
Yeah.
You both know how to talk. I mean, it transmits through camera, like the charisma. So just, I don't know, that's half of it, man. You got it. And I would actually suggest, I've been putting in a lot of time on podcasts because I've been running a lot recently. And I would recommend listening to a couple podcasts just to kind of get the feel of different podcasts and see what you like and don't like.
Yeah.
And try to bring that in your podcast.
Yeah, I've actually listened to a few in the past couple months.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been listening to, I think, I'm trying to think one that's like very conversational.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan is a good one. That's a really good one for sure. Joe Rogan is a beast for sure. He's really cool, man. And I really like to kind of bring in some humor to it as well. I would listen to Impulsive by Logan Paul. Regardless if you're a Logan Paul supporter or not. I know he's had some controversy. He puts out a good production of the podcast for sure.
Okay, yeah.
I would check that out. If you have a pen and pencil, write that down, man.
All right.
He's got some really good podcasts. A lot of them. He puts them, I think, 2 a week, 3 a week.
Oh, wow.
All very, very interesting. A lot of comedy as well in the podcast, but like also underlying like deeper meaning, which is I think essential for sure.
Yeah.
And if you have time, man, listen to Russell Brand. Russell Brand has a phenomenal podcast for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out.
It's more it's more spiritual, intellectual. He really dives deep into a lot of topics, but I think that's really what makes a podcast a podcast.
Oh yeah, totally. No, you need to. I feel like what really separates the podcast from your standard YouTube video, I was talking about this with Noah when we were planning this, is in that YouTube video format, you're limited to what, like 10 minutes, around there, 15 minutes?
Generally, not because of YouTube's limitations
but
as a platform, but because of its audience and how impatient they are, really.
Yeah, but then when you get into a podcast, like, I'll sit down and I'll watch a 4-hour podcast, or like not watch, but I'll listen to a 4-hour podcast, no problem. And so I feel like you can just go so much deeper with a podcast and really dive into stuff. And so I feel like if with this podcast, if we keep it really conversational, that's what I like. I want to keep it that way. I feel like we can discuss a lot of fun stuff. Like for the next podcast, I'm thinking about some future podcast. We know somebody who lives in Russia currently, and we were thinking about getting him on the podcast. And so just kind of keeping it really free-flowing, pretty loose. Bringing on, I would like to bring on somebody for each episode. But, well, you know what? I guess we've kind of talked our way to the end here. I'll definitely keep on the phone with you, Aaron, so we can catch up a little bit. But I guess we can wrap up here. We've gotten a solid hour and 15 minutes in here.
Almost.
Yeah. So I guess thank you for all all of you who have kept watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be coming out with another podcast in 2 weeks, and I hope to crank these out at least every week once we get up and going. So, alrighty. I guess
thank
that
you,
about.
Aaron,
Yeah,
for
thank
taking our
you.
call.
Thank you guys. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And yeah, I wish you guys success. I'm excited to see where you go with this.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, and good luck in Brazil with everything that's going on.
Thank you, brother.
Alrighty, we shall end.